Hello viewers, and welcome to another episode or another edition of the Business Roundup right here on your national broadcaster. I'm your host, Sigoa. Let's have the highlights. Kamo's agro-fish farm in Buikwe district weathers the COVID-19 storm. Uganda and the European Union are to host the third EU-Uganda Business Forum. The state of Mutukula Masaka Road asks the private sector. And on the corporate scene, Equity Bank to commit more resources in the renewable energy sector. Stay tuned. It's time for business. After weathering the severe disruptions caused by the coronavirus pandemic, Kamo's agro-fish farm in Buikwe district is not only surviving but thriving. Directed by Paul Kajimu, a seasoned commercial fish farmer with 8 years of experience, the farm has shown remarkable resilience and growth. Check this out. During the peak of the COVID-19 lockdown, Paul Kajimu faced significant challenges, especially in accessing markets.
Movement was restricted. Cargo, no cargo, we know this very well. So sometimes we would expect to get a cargo coming, only to get news that I was past the time, so I had to stop on the way to wait for the time. And also with the selling of our fish, we couldn't sell enough fish on the market, because people had no money and they were not buying. Also, the movement was very terrible, and you would move and then you would park and go to the market, you find it closed. So it was very challenging. But with all those challenges, they gave us a lesson to learn. At least with challenges, we've been learning from them here at Kamo's Fish Farm. And we're happy to tell you that amongst the biggest challenges, we've got very good lessons.
However, 3 years later, his cage fish farming venture in Lake Victoria is flourishing, standing out among many struggling smallholder businesses in Uganda that was severely ravaged by coronavirus. Kajimu highlights the untapped potential of Uganda's fish farming industry, still in its infancy but ripe for expansion.
Fish has a ready market, and the demand for fish only in Uganda on the local market is high, only that they only don't get the quality fish. Now we do farm the quality fish. It's only that in Uganda also people haven't gotten to know about the farmed fish in the lake, not farmed fish in the ponds. But this is farmed fish in the lake. I can call it fish from the lake. It's very tasty fish, very good fish, very healthy fish, very fresh fish.
What started with a single pond for fingerling production in 2015 has now evolved into 7 ponds, demonstrating the farm's exponential growth.
There are farmers who are buying from us the fingerlings. We have marine spories in Entebbe. I have clients also in Entebbe with the small farms. I have clients in Masese. I have clients all over the lake. They buy it from us, and I do transport it with our boat. Because there's a time when we used to take our truck here to transport the fingerlings, we discovered it was very difficult for it, because the roads are in a very terrible state. So we abandoned that of using the truck. Now we are using our boat to take the fingerlings all the way to Entebbe, all the way to Jinja. We can even take it as far as Masaka if someone made an order. Even in Kalangala, I remember one time I had to take it to Kalangala.
Innovating to reduce costs, Kamo's agro-fish farm has shifted from importing cages to training and employing young men who produce high-quality cages on site. This not only cuts expenses but also empowers local talent and stimulates the regional economy.
We are the only farm in Uganda that is doing cage of this nature. We train the young men, and they are making very strong cages that are holding our fish. As you will go down in the lake, you'll see the cages that are manufactured in Kamos. This is the very unique aspect that we have amongst all the fish farms in Uganda. This is the very one that is manufacturing, making cages of standard and very strong cages. So even the boys who are doing it are trained on work here.
Currently, the farm yields over 2,000 metric tons of fish, equivalent to 2 million kilograms per annum. This significant output not only meets market demand but also contributes to the employment of young people as well as the development of supporting infrastructure throughout the region.
So they said even if it is not easy, you struggle with it like that. So he employed me here. Now like I'm like a supervisor who supervises the work.
Fish farming is a venture that very few Ugandan businessmen have dared. But from the testimony of people like Paul Kajimu, who has been in the business for 8 years, it shows that investment in this sector can be worthwhile. The Cabinet Minister for Kampala Capital City, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, visited Motive Creations to assess the impact of the facility's youth scaling program and innovative initiatives aimed at increasing youth employment in the city. Motive, located in Kampala's industrial area, serves as a haven for creatives.
Government has been developing different initiatives to respond to high rates of youth unemployment and poverty eradication through holistic interventions aimed at developing marketable skills that create opportunities for self-employment among unemployed youth.
I've visited Motive for the first time, and I've been I'm so much impressed with what I've seen here, because I did not expect such a place here, which has motivated the youth, which is making such good things here. I've visited their kitchen, I've visited their workshops. They're making good beds, they are making good dresses and everything here. So I think this is a small industry which can grow bigger.
Situated at industrial area along Old Port Bay Road, Motive serves as a haven for creatives, inviting talented artisans, craft makers, designers and artists from all walks of life.
Our objective for today was mostly to connect with the Minister for Kampala to demonstrate the opportunities that can come from what we call a productive common user facility, where young people can come and build their businesses, take advantage of the equipment, have access to market as they build their business. The most important thing is, if you look at the city, there are so many locations where a model like this can be replicated and also scaled up.
Japheth Kawanguzi, the team leader at Motive, says that they are focusing on supporting creative entrepreneurs to refine their ideas and scale their businesses to meet local and international market demand while increasing youth employment.
We call them omoleso, marketplaces where they can sell online, but they can also actual physical marketplaces. If you pass here, when we have a marketplace, most people think it is a disco, because there are so many people selling, so many people making money, so many people interacting. Every weekend we have a marketplace that happens here. And then the last important thing we need to do to create actual employment is around access to finance.
According to Hajat Misa Kabanda, her team has purposed this week to visit different facilities to comprehensively assess the impact of youth skilling programs and innovative initiatives on youth employment.
Okay, we have other skilling areas, but according to their components, they also offer some small business money, which is refundable, and mindset change and other things. We shall work with them. For us, that's why I came with the Brigadier General Dam Leader, because we work with him and in the ghetto structure. So I will we are going to discuss more when we go back and we bring the ghetto structure.
Uganda and the European Union are to host the third EU-Uganda Business Forum. The forum, slated for early March, will facilitate structured collaboration between the European Union and Uganda public and private sector actors. The forum, which opens on the 5th of March to 7th in Kampala, seeks to build on the existing trade ties between the European Union and Uganda. On the theme boosting trade and investments, it is designed to mobilize investments into the country and strengthen Ugandan exports.
The volume of trade between Uganda and Europe now being at 800 million, that just shows to us that European Union are our allies that our president says that we should look for. And I must say we are happy that in you we find true allies. And I want to tell you that we treat our allies very well and we love them.
It comes at a time when the value of Ugandan exports to Europe is estimated at about 800 million euros per annum. According to the EU, in Uganda, their main focus is improving livelihoods and providing jobs to more than 700,000 young people who enter the job market annually.
We see micro, small and medium-sized enterprises as the drivers for the Ugandan economy, but they deeply lack access to affordable financing. This is something that we will look into. And the upcoming Business Forum is a key platform to support job creation and sustainable economic growth for Uganda. And we truly believe that this kind of initiative is key to mobilize higher levels of private investments and to create new business opportunities in priority sectors.
The Private Sector Foundation Uganda and the Uganda Investment Authority will capitalize on the event to put more emphasis on foreign direct investments, value addition and observance to standards.
Our focus is to move away from exporting raw materials. Our focus is now on value addition. So where possible, we'll be adding value to the goods that we send to the European market. The conditions in Europe are favorable. Like they said, there are no trade barriers.
From Uganda Investment Authority, definitely, we are going to continue illuminating the opportunities, investment opportunities, especially that we can present to the EU. Most of the sectors have been mentioned, but I wanted to be a bit specific. Where we see opportunities for our partners in Europe is, for instance, in the areas of pharmaceuticals and the medicaments, including equipment.
The forum will place special attention to key economic sectors that offer significant opportunities to European investors to develop partnerships with Ugandan entrepreneurs, including agribusiness, mining, infrastructure, and the tourism sector. Sigoa for UBC Business. The state of the Mutukula-Masaka Road is unacceptable from the private sector standpoint, says Dr. Julius Byaruhanga, the Director Policy Advocacy at the Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Byaruhanga argues that the inefficiencies or failure to work on the infrastructure is hurting the private sector.
The 83-kilometer Mutukula-Masaka Road serves as a critical link between Uganda and Tanzania through the Mutukula border, playing a crucial role in facilitating cross-border trade.
For instance, if for instance I was a URA official or a Ministry of Works official at Mutukula, I would feel ashamed to collect a tax from a truck which is going to drive on that road. It's really unacceptable from the private sector standpoint. So such kinds of infrastructure, that itself will make someone clear their cargo through the Mombasa port as opposed to Dar es Salaam.
For us, a central corridor, as we have been pushing, make sure that that road has been rehabilitated for smooth movement of goods from Mutukula to Masaka. It's not a long route, but it's around 83 kilometers.
Its current condition poses significant challenges for the private sector in both countries, leading to increased expenses due to fines and regulations on axle load.
So what that means is when you load your cargo in a container, the assumption is it should not shift to one side of the container. Because when it shifts, it means weight is being applied on one side and the road is being damaged. So when cargo shifts, these people are fined. So now the question we've been asking is, how do you make sure that cargo does not shift where you're driving on a road with about 2-3 feet potholes, but also with speed bumps?
Furthermore, the ongoing rehabilitation of the Katonga Bridge, which collapsed in June 2023, compounds the situation. Despite the completion of the procurement process and the awarding of the project to a contractor by the Ministry of Works and Transport and the Uganda National Roads Authority, heavy vehicles are still unable to utilize the bridge.
Really, throughout that period, the private sector is losing money. 50 kilometers on a road in a truck, you're talking about time, you're talking about fuel, you're talking about wear and tear, and of course the way the private sector runs is
you have a cargo owner, you have a transporter, you have a clearing and forwarding agent, and all those are losing money. So it's important that some of this infrastructure, we don't look at it and you see people patting themselves at the back that we've progressed. No, we haven't done anything.
In response to these challenges, General Katumba Wamala, Minister of Works and Transport, says the procurement process has been finalized and soon contractor will start the road rehabilitation project.
Masaka Mtukula Road is on. The company which is going to do it is called Sigoa. They are already getting the contract. They got the contract. They're getting a commencement order, I think, very soon. We know even how much it will cost. They are already there on the ground. So that one is on. It's out of the box. It's now on the line.
And soon contractor will start the road rehabilitation project. On its part, the Uganda National Roads Authority calls for patience.
So we are in advanced stages of having these projects taken off the ground. We still request for your patience.
Mariona Wori for the Business Roundup.
Still on road matters, constructed 7 years ago, the all-weather Katosi-Nyenga Road was envisioned to transform trade, enhance household incomes and alleviate congestion on the Kampala-Jinja Highway. However, it's falling short of expectations due to several challenges. We take stock in the following feature story. The 70-kilometer Mukono-Chetume Katosi-Nyenga Road, costing 283 billion shillings, aimed to spur development in trading centers like Naja. While some progress is evident, doubts loom over its effectiveness. Paul Kajimu, a commercial fish farmer, voices frustrations over the deteriorating feed roads.
This was a strategic road they put in place. It's not transporting any lumamongering. It's transporting products from the lake, from the farmers. I can tell the government, I can tell everyone that this road, the feeder roads, if well maintained, there is going to be very good business.
His concerns echo throughout Naja Trading Center, an essential hub connecting Lugazi town and Chiyindi landing site on the Lake Victoria shores.
It's a short distance from Chiyindi up to where? Up to Lugazi. A lot of dust is on this way.
I'm a taxpayer, yet I'm suffering like this. I appeal to the relevant authorities to address our plight.
The road is very badly off. Potholes are all over. We move jumping like we are skipping anthills. Women from Buvuma who get complications and need to be rushed to Lugazi Hospital are also greatly inconvenienced by the road. The ambulance moves as it hits in the potholes, and some of the women give birth in the ambulances while others arrive at the hospital when they are in a worse state. Kindly help the women.
During a recent community interaction in Buikwe district, President Yoweri Museveni was told of the dire state of road infrastructure.
The roads here in Busoga, there are many roads which we want to do, but we shall start with some major ones which we have been trying to work on for a long time.
Emerging potholes on a road barely a decade old add to the public's worries.
I had not attended to them, but when they told me, I saw some between Nyenga and the bridge, the Nairo bridge. So I wanted General Katumba to go on that road. And what happened? We have just finished that road.
Paul Kajimu emphasizes how poor infrastructure adversely affects smallholder farmers' access to markets. The distance to the nearest all-weather road from farm areas significantly impacts the ability to trade.
Out there on the infrastructure, which I said in the beginning, that is wanting. Our feeder roads are in a very terrible state. We just call upon the authority, the road authority, Ministry of Works, to at least also give us a hand, because we are investors. We are employing people. we have a product to bring to the market. We have a product to get from the market, the feeds.
Every
electioneering season, we are promised that our roads will be worked on. There are very many islands on Lake Victoria. Business people come from as far as Kenya. This road is the shortest from Chiyindi landing site. People from Buvuma Island as well as Namayingo use this route. The Katosi-Nyenga road's failure to meet its objectives is a pressing issue for Boikwe residents. Improving road infrastructure is imperative to unlock the region's economic potential and fulfill the promises made during its construction. Dennis Sigoa for the Business Roundup. To the August House, the Parliamentary Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs is yet to clear the rationalization bills brought to its table after finding gaps in the certificate of implication issued by the Ministry of Finance. A team led by the Attorney General, Tiriowa Chiwanuka, asked for more time to verify the certificate before the scrutiny of the bills could proceed.
Government has advanced the move to save about 1 trillion annually through reducing on the wasteful expenditure from duplication of government agencies. Parliament is debating the bill after respective ministries tabled different bills justifying the need to rationalize the attached agencies.
The bill contains repeal of the Uganda National Roads Authority Act 2006,
is the repeal of the Non-Performing Assets Recovery Trust Act, CAP 95, the amendment of Assets of Departed Asians Act.
Most of these agencies were a formation of acts of parliament, and thus the need to revisit the guided laws were inevitable.
You intimated that it would be very appropriate, Right Honourable Speaker, for the sponsors of rationalization, namely the Ministry of Public Service, to interact intimately and intensively with the leaders of the committees.
One of the basic tenets of a good law, it must be consultative, and this is part of the consultations I beg to submit.
And when you're going for that meeting, Honourable Minister, kindly go with the report that formed your decision to rationalization, so that these members will be able to appreciate and understand what it is for them to take to their committees.
It is now upon the investigations of Parliament to determine whether the move tallies with the government idea to cut costs and improve efficiency, as well as be friendly to the taxpayer.
They want to understand the nature of bill that was laid. May you indulge the government chief whip to guide the ministers, because each of the bills carries a memorandum. So the memoranda cannot be omnibus.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is among the crusaders of rationalization after the president recently called for more support for wealth creators through engaging in the 4 sectors of the economy, including commercial agriculture, industries, services and ICT. However, the tabling of the respective bills comes at a time when the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has revised the resource envelope and expenditure for the financial year 2024-2025 from 52.723 trillion to 53.336 trillion. This, according to Minister of State for Finance in charge of General Duties, Henry Musasizi, is attributed to the consideration of statutory obligations, including pension, gratuity and funds for the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer UGFIT program.
So this is not something extraordinary. You can see it is something consistent with the process we shall arrive at by May.
The upward shift in the resource envelope is not a surprise to a section of members of parliament who claim that the government is playing a hide-and-seek game to include some uncalled expenditure.
You have now processed a budget of 52 trillion by today. They are now adding another 1.3 trillion, which means that we are going to pass a budget when 1.3 trillion has not been properly scrutinized. That's why the law says you must disclose when you are presenting the budget framework paper. But two, you are dealing with people who are dishonest. Sometimes they keep money for items they know that Parliament will reject.
In this financial year, for example, there was about 2 trillion shillings that could not be explained. And that pointed to us that the intention was then to later revise the budget to 54 trillion shillings and claim that the 2 trillion shillings has been found after Parliament has made its recommendation. Given that our country can only mobilize about 30 trillion shillings domestically at the very high end, otherwise we do about 28 trillion, and we mobilize about 5 to 6 trillion externally.
They will also be accommodated. This is normal in the process of budget preparation and budget approval. So I cannot say at this stage that we shall carry this resource envelope up to the end.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
In the corporate scene, Equity Bank Uganda will be managing a results-based financing fund to capitalize Ugandan renewable energy small and medium enterprises. Marco Dulo has the details.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we have actually won a commercial financial institution for this project.
GIZ and NDEV's funding through this results-based financing scheme finds Uganda harnessing its momentum to become a low-carbon emitting nation.
The agreement we are in now with Equity Bank is up to 2025, so that's 2 years. The time you will have for implementation as a private sector partner will entirely depend on when your service agreement is signed.
Equity Bank has been given the mandate to manage the fund as it awards interested businesses that sell renewable cooking and solar devices get a financial boost.
Once you get credit for the first time, you manage it well, you should be able to come back for credit the next time. And that's how businesses grow world over, credit.
COP28 has given its members up to 2030 to raise renewable energy utilization to 80%.
We were recently, as a bank, at the COP28 accredited under the Global Climate Fund, which was a very, very, very big milestone for us. And we're looking forward to participating in all those programs.
This means Uganda and its partner members in the international agreement have only 6 years to transition their energy dependency to more sustainable means.
We also revised our NDC, the national determined contributions as a country, and made them even more ambitious. Now we target to reduce our emissions by 24.7% from the business as usual.
Small businesses in Uganda with evidence of audited sales are hereby encouraged to apply for the debt-free capital through Equity Bank. Companies with good sales and acceptable government compliance stand to receive a substantial boost. Wadulo Mark Arnold for UBC Business.
The Animal Feeds Bill 2023 that is being made by the Parliament of Uganda is to see that the standards of feeds within Uganda, either being produced in Uganda, imported in Uganda, or exported in Uganda, work hand in hand with the standards that UNBS has set, because it works hand in hand with the Ministry of Agriculture, to foresee that the final consumer, who is the human being in Uganda or even across where we'll be exporting these feeds, are not compromised. It is beneficial to see that such bill becomes a law, for it is going to protect the human consumer and also the health of the animals that will be the consumers of these animal feeds that we'll be producing, importing or exporting.
As we sign out this edition of the Business Roundup, we leave you, as usual, with some words of wisdom. Every year, bills are brought to the floor of Parliament and some are eventually signed into law. As a citizen, how often do you familiarize yourself with the new pieces of legislation or the bills? Otherwise, thanks for being a loyal audience, and let's catch up next week at the same time and same place. Bye-bye.